Hi, I'm Michael Dalto. I'm a consultant with the Maryland Division of Rehabilitation Services. There are 3 ways to get Social Security disability benefits. What they all have in common is you have to have a significant disability that limits your ability to work somewhat, but it doesn't necessarily prevent you from working completely. What they all have in common as well is that you or a certain family member has to have worked and paid taxes on Social Security earnings for a long enough period. You can get Social Security disability in 3 different ways. The differences have to do with who has to have paid the taxes on their earnings. If you get Social Security disability insurance, also known as SSDI, on your own work history, you have to be the one who has the work history and has to have paid Social Security taxes on your earnings. You can also get benefits on the earnings record of a parent in some cases. If you are now at least 18 years old, you've been disabled since before you turned 22, and you have a parent who's now retired, disabled, or deceased, you can get benefits on your parent's work history. And finally, if you are a disabled widow or widower, you're at least 50 years old, and your deceased spouse worked and paid taxes on their earnings, you may be able to get benefits on the record of your deceased spouse. However, whichever way you get benefits, the impact of earnings on the benefit is the same. Also, you should know that if you have been entitled to Social Security disability benefits for at least 2 years, you'll be eligible for a medical benefit known as Medicare. So when you get Social Security disability, it can be very frightening. It can feel like a high wire act to even contemplate going to work. But as I mentioned, there are a variety of safety nets that can provide protection for benefits to make sure that you're better off working than not working. And those safety nets are known as work incentives. So work incentives can do a variety of things. Number 1, they can let you keep Social Security disability payments longer, sometimes permanently, while you're working. They can protect your medical benefits even if your earnings go high enough to stop your cash benefits. They can let you get cash benefits back again quickly and easily without having to reapply if anything happens to your job after you've worked your way off cash benefits. And they can even offer additional medical coverage known as medical assistance or Medicaid if you're working. So the first safety net available to you if you get Social Security disability and you go to work is called the trial work period. This is a period of generally 9 months in which you can earn as much as you want. It does not matter how high your earnings are. You'll still keep your full Social Security disability benefit. The amount that you need to earn in order to use up one of your 9 months differs from year to year, and it appears on this slide. The dollar amount usually increases each year. If you earn below the dollar amount in a month in a given year, nothing happens. You keep your disability benefit, and you don't use up any of your 9 trial work period months. If you earn above that amount, you use up trial work period months, but no matter how high your earnings, you still keep your full Social Security disability benefit. So that's a nice safety net for at least 9 months. After the trial work period has ended, Social Security starts looking at your earnings in a different way. They're determining whether you're doing what they call substantial gainful activity, or SGA. If your earnings are below SGA, you'll keep your benefits, and that can continue indefinitely as long as your earnings stay below the SGA limit. If your earnings go above SGA, then your benefits may stop, but not necessarily permanently. So what is substantial gainful activity, or SGA? Well, there are dollar amounts attached to it. If you are not blind and you're earning above this amount, you may be doing SGA. If you are blind and you're earning above this amount, then you may be doing SGA. But just because you're earning above those amounts does not necessarily mean you're doing SGA and that your benefits will stop. When Social Security looks at your earnings, they allow you certain subtractions from earnings. One is called impairment-related work expenses. These are expenses that you paid for related to your disability that are needed at least partly for you to be able to work. Examples might be accessible transportation for work, medical services, medical equipment and supplies, assistive technology, attendant services, physical accommodations, vehicle modifications, etc. If you pay for those impairment-related work expenses, the value that you're paying can be subtracted from your earnings when Social Security determines whether you're doing SGA. Another subtraction that's allowed is called subsidies and special conditions. This means that you're paid the full wage for your job, but your productivity might be lower than coworkers. Maybe you're working a little more slowly, or there are certain duties that you can't fully perform because of your disability. There's a subtraction from earnings allowed for that. Also, if you get extra help to do the job, whether that's provided by a coworker, a supervisor, or a job coach, there's a subtraction for that. Social Security tallies up all the subtractions allowed from your earnings. They subtract that from your gross monthly wage, and if the difference is below the target numbers we saw in the previous slide, then you're not doing substantial gainful activity and your benefits will continue. So, you've finished your trial work period, you're using impairment-related work expenses, subsidies and special conditions, and even after those subtractions, your earnings are still above the substantial gainful activity limit. Does that mean you lose your disability benefit right away? No. In fact, the first month that you do substantial gainful activity after your trial work period and the 2 months that follow it are called a grace period, and you still keep your benefits for those 3 months regardless of how high your earnings are. Another safety net that occurs right after the trial work period is called the extended period of eligibility. During that time, if you earn above the substantial gainful activity level, other than during the 3 months of your grace period, you won't be eligible for your cash benefit. It will stop. However, if your earnings drop below substantial gainful activity the next month, all you have to do to get your benefit back again is call Social Security and notify them. You do not have to reapply and wait. You're still eligible for benefits, even though you may not be receiving them in the months that you're doing SGA. So it's a very easy way to go back on benefits if anything happens to your earnings, if they fall below substantial gainful activity or if you stop working. The extended period of eligibility lasts for 36 consecutive months, 3 years. It starts immediately after your trial work period ends. You could even be doing substantial gainful activity every month in the extended period of eligibility for 3 straight years. But if the final month your earnings drop below SGA or you stop working, you can get your benefit back from Social Security just by calling them. So it's a quick and easy way to get back on benefits if your earnings drop or stop. Suppose you have worked your way off Social Security disability. You're doing substantial gainful activity. You finished your trial work period and your cash benefits stop. You continue doing substantial gainful activity. Does that mean that your Medicare will stop? No. In fact, you can keep your Medicare for years longer, even though you may be doing substantial gainful activity and your cash benefits may have stopped. You can keep your Medicare as long as you continue to be disabled for at least 7 years and 9 months after your trial work period has ended, regardless of your earnings. So if you add the 9 months of your trial work period plus the 7 years and 9 months that you can continue your Medicare after your trial work period, possibly longer, that means you'll be able to keep your Medicare for at least 8.5 years after you started working. If you continue to work beyond that extended period of Medicare coverage, you may still be able to keep your Medicare if you pay extra for it. However, if you get Medicaid, also known as medical assistance, in addition to your Medicare, the Medicaid will cover the extra cost and you won't have to pay it. Suppose you have worked your way off cash benefits, you've finished your trial work period and your extended period of eligibility, and you're still doing substantial gainful activity. At that point, your benefits stop, and if your earnings later drop, you can't simply call Social Security and get the benefits restarted. However, even then, you have a safety net to get benefits back again more quickly and easily than if you had to reapply. It's called expedited reinstatement. Here's how it works. If your benefits have been terminated, they have stopped because you're doing substantial gainful activity after your extended period of eligibility has ended, and then your earnings drop below SGA, or they stop within 5 years, you can ask to have your benefits reinstated. Social Security will actually give you benefit checks while you're waiting for them to make a decision on reinstating your benefits permanently. They'll give you those benefit checks known as provisional benefits for up to 6 months. Meanwhile, they'll be doing a medical review to make sure that your disability has not improved since the last time they did a medical review. If your disability has not improved, then they'll approve you and you'll be able to continue to get your cash benefits. The decision on expedited reinstatement usually just takes a few months, much shorter time than if you applied for benefits from scratch. A sixth safety net enables you to get an additional medical benefit if you're working and either getting Social Security disability or if you've worked your way off Social Security disability. It's called the Employed Individuals with Disabilities, or EID program, and it qualifies you for a medical benefit called Medicaid, which is also known as medical assistance, if you meet several criteria. You have to be 18 to 64 years old. You need to meet Social Security's medical definition of disability, which you will meet if you receive Social Security disability or if you have worked your way off it. You need to be working for pay, and you need to meet an income and an asset limit. Those limits are quite high compared to other government programs. If you qualify for Medicaid and you still receive Medicare, Medicaid supplements your Medicare. It eliminates virtually all of the out-of-pocket costs that you would otherwise have to pay for Medicare. That can save you potentially thousands of dollars a year. If you have private insurance, your Medicaid can supplement that. It can cover some services that your private insurance will not cover. If you have no other insurance, Medicaid provides pretty comprehensive coverage. It covers everything you would expect medical insurance to cover, and usually a few extra things as well. There's a monthly premium for the EID program. It's on a sliding scale ranging from $0 to $55 a month. However, everybody who's enrolled in EID saves more on medical costs than they pay in monthly premiums. Another safety net is called the Ticket to Work. The Ticket to Work enables you to hire an organization without having to pay them to give you help to get and keep employment. Your Ticket to Work can be assigned to either DOORS or, after your case with DOORS has been closed, to another agency known as an employment network. And they're obligated to give you services to help you get or keep employment. To find an employment network to help you continue getting services after your case with DOORS is closed, you can go to this website. Another benefit of the Ticket to Work, in addition to the employment services, is that in some cases it can protect you from medical reviews from Social Security. When you get Social Security disability benefits, Social Security will periodically do a medical review to see if you have medically improved or medically recovered. If they find that you have medically recovered, then your benefits can stop. You're no longer eligible for them. The medical reviews usually happen once every 1 to 7 years, depending on how likely it is Social Security thinks that your disability will improve. However, if your Ticket to Work is assigned to either DOORS or an employment network, and if you are meeting certain criteria called timely progress, then Social Security is not allowed to do a medical review. And if they're not allowed to do a medical review, then they can't find you to have medically recovered, and your benefits would be protected. Timely progress usually involves certain levels of employment and or education. When your ticket is assigned to DOORS or an employment network, Social Security will periodically send you paperwork so that you can verify whether you're meeting the timely progress requirements. It's very important that you complete and return that paperwork. That can help protect you from medical reviews. Can you be better off if you work your way off Social Security disability benefits? We talked about the various safety nets, including how you can work and still keep your cash benefits. But suppose you get the opportunity for a good paying full-time job and you'd be earning above the substantial gainful activity level and your cash benefits would stop. Can you in fact be better off even though you'd work your way off Social Security disability? Here's an example. Rosina started out receiving only Social Security disability insurance, SSDI. She went to work, she started earnings, but kept her SSDI. Then she got a better paying job, working more hours. Her SSDI stopped after her trial work period and her grace period had ended. However, if you compare her circumstances in this bar graph, you'll see that in fact she has more money to live on working full-time without SSDI than she did working part-time and keeping SSDI. And of course, in both cases, working part-time or full-time, her income will be much higher than when she wasn't working and was receiving only SSDI. That's a lot to absorb. Luckily, you're not expected to be an expert on these work incentives or safety nets. You can get help from a professional known as a benefits counselor. A benefits counselor can help you understand the impact of earnings on your benefits. They can help you use the safety nets or work incentives. To get help from a benefits counselor, contact your rehabilitation counselor at DOORS. They can hire a benefits counselor to assist you.